Hey guys, it's ExandShadow's here with the Q&A response video. Now it's gonna go pretty much like you'd expect, however, I am doing one thing. Excuse me. I got a lot of repeats, most notably what's my favorite game. So whenever I come up with a question that's pretty much what's my favorite fill in the blank here, I'm going to give you one of my favorites. So just for example, I don't think I got asked this, but what's my favorite TV show? I'd say Law & Order, even though Law & Order is only one of my favorite TV shows. Okay, do you get that? Okay, well, let's just start. If you don't get it, you'll catch on pretty quick. Okay, so first question. The Blazing Dragoon asks, what's my favorite Pokemon in black and white? Chandelure. I really like Chandelure. He's pretty cool. Chaos Paradox, sorry. He asks, what are my favorite video games or game series, and what series of games do I think are overrated? Well, one of my favorite game series is definitely the Ace Attorney series. It's a unique series, nothing really like it, and I like it a lot. My favorite game in that series would probably be Trials and Tribulations. And what series of games do I think is overrated? Probably Zelda. Zelda is probably the most overrated series out there. But that's just me. Anyway, next is Pure Awesomeness in a Can. He asks, what is my Pokemon Black team? Well, I've got Samurott, Chandelure, Gigalith, Electros, Crocodile, and Vanilluxe. That's my Pokemon Black team. But however, that was just my going through the game and beating the final boss team. I don't do a lot of competitive stuff. 2, he asks, what's my favorite handheld game? This is hard. For Game Boy, it would probably be Pokemon Gold, and for Game Boy Advance it would probably be Metroid Fusion, but for DS that's really hard. I'll have to get back to you on that. And 3, will ever get into competitive battling in black? Probably not. You know, I'm just not good at it, so meh. Okay, so Nairman214, hi Ryan. He asks, why haven't I started up my LP in yet? It's mainly a question of video quality, to be honest. You know, I'm not really happy with how good the quality is in my videos. Well, technically, you know, how good my commentary is up to interpretation. But if you look back at my old stuff, you know, the quality's always been a problem, you know, whether I had to show the menu bars or whether it was just really laggy, you know. The way I record limits me to emulators. It's most convenient with the Game Boy emulator, so it pretty much puts me in a very tight spot. So I really want to get better recording equipment before I start doing more LPs. I have enough money to buy a Dazzle and the stuff I need to record with it, but just getting one is a little bit of a problem right now for multiple reasons. But, you know, I'm trying to get one, and once I get one, and once I get it to work right, I will start LPing again. Okay, so Toon J Dub asks, 1. Do I watch anime, and if so, which ones? No, I do not really watch anime. You know, as a kid, I watched Pokemon, obviously. I saw some Dragon Ball Z, some Sailor Moon, some Naruto, but nothing I ever watched religiously other than Pokemon, obviously. And, you know, I don't watch a lot of TV, and anime is often more slow-paced, or at least it seems a lot more slow-paced. So, it's just something that I have trouble getting into. He asks, number 2, what's my favorite game of all time? Pikmin. And he asks, 3, what's my favorite movie? The Goonies. That nerdy reference guy asks, best video game ever? Paper Mario 2. Darkside1219 asks, what's my favorite video game for each system? I assume each system that I own. For the N64, it's gotta be Banjo-Tooie. For GameCube, Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. For Wii, Super Mario Galaxy, probably. For DS, I don't know, Pokemon Black, that's one of my favorites. Game Boy Color, probably Pokemon Gold. And for Game Boy Advance, again, Metroid Fusion. Super Fawful 9000 asks, in my opinion, what is the worst gaming cliche I went through? I don't really get what you're asking here, so I'm going to assume it's what's the worst, like, trend in gaming that I've gone through. And for me, it's just an abundance of samey games. So whether it's, you know, the samey first-person shooters, or even the samey amount of colorful platformers, you know. For a long time, and I think this has actually plagued the industry ever since it started, It's very hard to see games that stand out, which is why I like things like Ace Attorney and Lost Ones, because they do stuff that's different. He also asks, what do I think is the worst Pokemon ever? Bidoof. Just that name, Bidoof, and I hate it. Anyway, and 3, favorite game company. Overall, I'd have to say that Nintendo makes more quality games than any other game company that I've seen. So yeah, I guess they're my favorite, although I do like certain properties more than Nintendo properties, if that makes sense. Okay, so Supersonic1497 asks what my favorite Unova starter is. Favorite Gen 5 starter. That would have to be Oshawott. I love that guy. Favorite starter overall, which is the second question. My favorite starter overall would be Cyndaquil. The Typhlosion is my favorite Pokemon, no questions asked, hands down, all the time, 100%. So, Cyndaquil is my favorite starter. And he also asks, why did I decide to make a YouTube account? Just for fun, really. There wasn't really any real reason other than it looked like something that I thought I'd have fun doing. And number 4, he asks, what made me decide to LP? I saw a lot of other people do it, and I thought that it would be something that I could do easily. Because, I tried doing review type things. Because, I got inspired by Darkness and the Angry Video Game Nerd. So I thought that I might do reviews, but then I saw the abundance of not very good reviews, and then when I tried it, I saw how hard it was to make them. So I figured that LPs, they're pretty similar, I gotta talk about what I like and don't like about the game as I play through it. And they looked easier to make, so that's pretty much why I did them, though LPs have their own technical problems that are a pain in the ass. Okay, so Supersonic673 asks, in black, what starter is my favorite? Well, actually, I have white version, but my favorite starter is Oshawott, no questions asked. He asks what games I think are underrated. The Trauma Center series is always overlooked, and it needs to get more love. Number 3, which legendary dog is my favorite? I'm not really partial to either of them, though design-wise Raikou is the coolest looking. And 4, what is my favorite gaming console? My favorite games are on the GameCube and the N64, but if I had to pick one console to stick with for the rest of my life, it would probably be the Wii. And I say that just because it has the largest selections of games available for it, because it's backwards compatible with GameCube games and Virtual Console stuff, so yeah. Okay, so the Frozen Warrior asks, 1, favorite dream team. I assume you mean Pokemon here, and I'd have to get back to you on that. It would take a while for me to design a perfect Pokemon team, so, maybe someday I'll tell you. He asks, number 2, most hated Pokemon to battle against. Garchomp, the cheap son of a bitch. I hate it. I just hate that fucking thing. 3, most OP Pokemon in my opinion. Mewtwo. No matter how hard you try, nothing will ever beat Mewtwo's dominance in first gen. Just nothing. And number 4, insert Airman's question here. And again, as soon as I get decent recording equipment, I will start doing more LPs. Hydro Saiyan asks, what do I want to see in Sonic Generations? Well, what I wanted to see in Sonic Generations was some sort of innovation type thing, but, thinking back, it's kind of hard for me to expect anything other than fan service in that. And while I do think that nothing but fan service is in the end gonna drag the franchise down, I guess I can put up with it for one more game. So, what I would like to see in Sonic Generations, more specifically the 3DS version, is to have the modern Sonic gameplay be modeled after the adventure style stuff. Because, if we're going to nostalgia mode here, I want my nostalgia catered to, goddammit. So yeah, I'd like some adventure-style 3D stages. I expect it on the 3DS because it's not as powerful as the consoles, so, it's more likely that we'd see something like that there. But, that's what I'm hoping for. And just in general, I hope that the adventure series gets some love. They said that they were going to have stages from it be in the game, but, I just hope that they give it the attention it deserves, because I'm an Adventure 2 fanboy to the death. He also asks, will I see Transformers Dark of the Moon / Transformer 3? No. I don't care about Transformers, to be honest. It never interested me, ever. And so I have no interest in seeing the crappy Michael Bay movie. Number 3, he asks, what advice would I give to a person who wants to start doing LPs? Well, to start off, I would say make sure that your recording quality is decent, at the very least. You know, nobody wants to watch crappy quality. And second off, from a commentary standpoint, make sure you know the game you're playing, or if it's a blind LP, unless if it's a blind LP, make sure you know the game you're playing well enough that you can show off hidden secrets, you know what's coming next, you're not surprised by anything. That's pretty much all you can say. I'd recommend practicing commentating, but other than that, you know, it just takes practice. Even Chugga Conroy and Nintendo Capri Sun weren't that great when they started off. Yes, I know, I'm gonna get flamed for that. Anyway, he asks, what is yesterday's today, but today's tomorrow? Tomorrow. And he asks number 5, is a cake really a lie? No, the cake did exist. Okay, so new Zen 441 has 2 questions. What is my favorite color, if any? I like red, orange, black. Those are my top 3. And he also asks, if I were forced to play either E.T. or Sonic 06, which would I choose? You know, this is hard. Probably E.T. because while it looks bad, it doesn't look as bad as what people said. You know, it just looks like a broken, stupid game. Sonic 06 is a game that could have worked, but they fucked up immensely, which makes me almost want to hate it more. Mixie's 2010. I'm sorry, man. I probably butchered your name. I have no clue how to say that, but yes, do I think DBZ is vastly overrated? To be honest, I've never really watched too much of it, so I can't really tell you. Wonder King Jehuti asks, do I know about the wonder of Sonic Chew, the original Electric Hedgehog Pokemon? If yes, what are your opinions? You know, once I tried to read an episode of Sonic Chew, I stopped. You know, it's just bad, and I know it's bad, and everyone else knows it's bad, so just leave them alone. God damn it. Yes, number 2, his question is, why do I look like Link from The Legend of Zelda a little bit? And to be honest, I don't see the resemblance, honestly. Other than being white, there really isn't that much resemblance. I mean, I've got brown hair, Link has blonde. You know, he's got pointy ears, I don't. I don't really see the resemblance, so I don't know. Okay, number 3. Do I ever wish I was a Jedi Knight? If so, which side? Jedi or Sith? You know, if you're a Sith, you're pretty much bound to either kill your master or be killed by your apprentice. So I don't think that'd be pretty cool. So I'd rather be a Jedi. But I have wished that I was a Jedi, you know, being able to turn people's minds on themselves. You know, actually, I don't think I'd be either. You know, why can't I be the slightly light or the slightly dark side of the Force? Why can't I be in the middle? Number 4, have you ever had any homoerotic thoughts in your life that you can recall? Other than my immense man crush on Rick Astley, no. Seriously though, not really, you know, I'm straight, I know I'm straight. If you're gay, that's fine, but, you know, I'm straight, that's just who I am. And number 5, how do I become as cool as the Brainscratch crew? Just be awesome, I guess, I don't know. Dinner777G asks, what was my favorite commentary brain through with Brainscratch? If the favorite one that I was involved in would probably be Yellow, but that's probably just because that's the one that I had the most input in, you know, because I recorded it. But overall, just not including the ones that I was in, I liked RE4. I liked RE4 a lot. I was technically in that one, but only in the end. I like most of the Sonic stuff. You know, that's hard. I'd have to get back to you on that. Stubbs Turner asks, I was wondering what my future plans were for this channel. To be honest, I don't know. You know, the future holds no bounds. Eventually, I would like to get back to doing LP stuff, maybe do a few reviews. I have I have a video project waiting in the wings. I'm editing it right now, though it's not a review or a LP project. It's just a fun video thing. You know, just whatever I feel like doing, I'm gonna do. You know, that's just how it goes. Anime Master 01 asks, have you watched Stupid Mario Brothers? If so, what's my thoughts on it? I assume you mean the Super Mario Brothers movie, and no, I have not seen it. Number 2, who inspired me? James Rolfe, the angry video game nerd, inspired me a lot. So did Ibito, Darkness the Curse, and Big Al were my big inspirations. And number 3, how did I make my icon? I didn't actually make this. A friend of mine, Dark Matter Crow, he did it for me, so ask him. I assume he did it in Paint or Photoshop or something. Rouged Shadow 07 asks, what are my thoughts on Project Cafe, aka the Wii 2 or the Wii Ni? Well, this is being recorded the day before Nintendo's press conference on the matter, so, you know, I'm going to have a E3 thoughts on video of some sort, so, you know, wait till then to see what I think about it, because I'd like to have the full picture before I say what I think. And 2, what's my favorite live-action / cartoon film? My favorite live-action film is still probably The Goonies, and my favorite cartoon film, I like Aladdin, I like the SpongeBob movie, I like, The Incredibles is awesome, you know. I don't watch a lot of movies, so yeah. Those are a few. Blue Painter's Tape asks, are you awesome? I'd like to think I'm at least fairly awesome. Draglance7996 asks, what is my favorite... Excuse me, what is my favorite DBZ hero and villain? Again, I don't really watch that much Dragon Ball Z, so I can't tell you. The Gobsicle asks, how much money would I have to pay you to film yourself fucking a donkey and then uploading it to YouTube? Not enough. Bimnica Price asks, who would win in a battle, Chuck Norris or Captain Falcon? Obviously, their fight would end the universe as we know it, so we would never know the winner. And number 2, how did I join Brainscratch? To be honest, me joining Brainscratch was a fluke more than anything else. I mean, they added me into the RE4 commentary just for laughs, and then, you know, them asking me to do a yellow playthrough after that was just, you know, for fun. You know, so yeah, it was just a fluke. I have no clue how that happened. Argo asks, when will I work with Brainscratch cons again? To be honest, you'd have to ask them. I don't get to choose what I do with them. They come and ask me whenever they want me to be and stuff with them. Like, they called me when they were doing RE4. They talked to me when they wanted to do Pokemon Yellow and New Super Mario Brothers and Tetris. So, if you really want me to do stuff with Brainscratch comms, talk to them. The Double Demon asks, were I ever a fan of Digimon or not? I watched the show a little bit, but in the end, you know, I just decided it wasn't worth it. You know, I didn't care. And number 2, what are some extremely unrated, in my opinion, unrated games you have played and would recommend? I assume you mean underrated. Both Lost Winds games are really, really good. I cannot shell those games out enough. I don't think Final Fantasy 3 and 4 get as much love as they deserve. The Pikmin games are woefully underloved, as well as the Paper Mario stuff, and the Adventure series is generally looked down upon by the Sonic community. But then again, they hate everything that's not classic Sonic nowadays, which is a problem with them that I have, actually, but that's a video for another day. But yeah. Oh my god, it's Wasabi asks, what's the next acapella? To be honest, the really bad acapella stuff is just stuff I do on a whim. Like, I'll be humming a song a whole lot, and then I'll see, like, you know what, I'm gonna do an acapella. The 4chan party van just passed. But yeah, it's just stuff that I do on a whim. It could be anything. Osp975 asks, is there a game that you can't beat or are terrible at, but still love to play? To be honest, I'm not really sure, because, you know, well, I'm not very good at the Trauma Center series, though I have beaten all the games. To be honest, if I'm bad at games and I can't beat them, they most likely frustrate me. and I don't ever get back to playing them. But however, I do really like Super Castlevania 4 and Super Ghouls and Ghosts, but I haven't beaten those games. Number 2, if I could star in a movie, what genre would it be? You know, I think it'd be very cool to do one of those dramatic, court type things, you know? Be like, you want answers? You want answers? I want the truth! You can't handle the truth! You know, that'd be fun. And number 3, if you were forced to move somewhere, where would I go? Well, I'm very happy where I live right now. If I had to move somewhere, I'd probably move out of the country, probably to, like, Ireland. Ireland, England, or Australia, honestly. I'd probably move there. But yeah, next question. Sonic Hockey Og asks, So tell me, my man, are you nervous in the service? Next question. Fets1245 asks, do you want Pikmin 3 to be on the Project Cafe? Yes and no. First off, the no. You know, I've been waiting for this game for too fucking long. Like, Pikmin 2 came out in, what, 2004? That's 7 years, and we've been waiting 3 years to get any sort of information about this. So I'd really rather have it on the Wii so I could just get it now. But if they were to move it to the Project Cafe, they could definitely do a lot more with it, and an HD Pikmin would be absolutely gorgeous. So, you know, yes and no. I'd have to see what a Project Cafe Pikmin would look like as opposed to a Wii Pikmin. However, I would not want them to do a Twilight Princess thing where they put it on both. No, just no, wrong, fail, bad. No. And then he asks, Sonic Adventure 1 or 2? 2. Definitely 2. 1's okay, but it's aged terribly, and I just don't enjoy it as much as 2. 2, to me, is the pinnacle of Sonic achievement. The Wolfboy 007 asks, do I plan on doing any Nintendo LPs, Mario, Zelda, etc., since I'm a Nintendo fan? I do plan on doing them, but that is, again, when I get a Dazzle. But I can pretty safely say that I probably won't do any Zelda stuff, because, you know, I don't particularly care for the Zelda series. He also asks, do you think you'll make it to 1 million subs, or YouTube partnership? Realistically, no, but however, I didn't expect to get to 1,000 either, so anything's possible. But, you know, honestly, I'm not the kind of user that's gonna end up that popular, I don't think, you know, because I sort of just do whatever. So I don't think it's likely, but anything's possible. He also asks, do I plan on doing any more LPs of Pokemon games? Nothing's impossible, but for the time being, I want to take a little break from Pokemon. You know, I've been playing a lot of other RPGs, trying to expand my horizons. But yeah. Pokeboy224, hey man, asks, do I ever see myself getting a YouTube partnership down the line? Again, it's not likely, but anything's possible. Number 2, he asks, if I magically had an unlimited supply of electricity on a deserted island, what would my preferred choice of gaming system be? Well, I'd hope that an unlimited supply of electricity meant an unlimited supply of power cords, but, again, I'd have to pick the Wii, just because, you know, the largest selection of my favorite games could be played on that system. And number 3, what's my favorite type of animal? Tigers. I like tigers. Anti-Sonic Team asks, do I accept any friend requests on YouTube? This is actually a very important question. No, I do not really accept friend requests on YouTube except for people that I could call my friends. You know, if I respect your work and we don't really talk, you know, I'll probably friend request you. But if you're somebody that I don't know, like a sub or something, I'm probably not going to accept your friend request. It's nothing personal, honestly, but my friends section is for friends. You know, that's just how it is. The Sonic345 asks, what's my favorite Pokemon region? My favorite Pokemon region in a game is definitely the Johto-Kanto combination from Gold and Silver. But if I had to pick a single favorite region, it would probably be Unova from Gen 5. He also asks, what's my least favorite Pokemon region? Sinnoh. I fucking hate Sinnoh. And number 3, if I could travel through time, what year would I go to? To be honest, I am not quite sure. You know, I don't want to go into the future because for all I know it could be all Chrono Trigger and dead out there. But, you know, I'm not sure if I'd want to go too far in the past, too. You know, I'd probably just end up going like 10 years into the past, you know, taking advantage of future knowledge, become Biff from Back to the Future 2. But yeah. The Nemo's Throwback asks, what is my name, what is my quest, and what is my favorite color? Also, what is the airspeed velocity of an undulating swallow? You know, I don't actually like Monty Python and the Holy Grail, so you asked the wrong person that question. But he also asked, what is my favorite critter from a video game? Like Moogles or Chocobos from Final Fantasy, the Djinn from Jolton Sun, or any sort of Pokemon. You know, this is a hard question. The Chow from Sonic are adorable. I'll say that. Waffleman 20,000 asks, do I like cake? Not really, actually. I prefer ice cream. The Ryan227 asks, what got you into making videos? Boredom, pretty much. Yes, number 2, how do I get on Brainscratch? To be honest, you'd have to talk to them. Ryan, Lewis, and Johnny, I assume, choose their guest commentators. And so, you know, I'm friends with them, so that's how I got onto Brainscratch. So you'd either have to schmooze up to them enough to get on there, or you'd have to have popular enough videos that they'd want you to join. So yeah, you know, talk to them. I'm not really involved with that process. And he asked number 3, can we be BFFZ? Is BFFZ like Dragon Ball Z? Because if we can be friends that shoot laser beams at each other, that'd be pretty awesome. Sure, why not? Shadow Dragon Shadow asks, 1. From one Nintendo fanboy to another, what's my favorite game? I haven't said Banjo-Tooie yet, so Banjo-Tooie is definitely one of my favorites. Shot Shark 22 asks, how did I come up with the idea for one-sentence rants, reviews, reactions? To be honest, it started off with the swine flu paranoia video, you know, and I wanted to, I saw, it was after the wake of the swine flu epidemic, and I saw a sign in my school bathroom telling you how to wash your hands, and you know, I thought, this is ridiculous, people are still going on about that. But whenever I tried to make a full-scale rant on it, you know, it just didn't end up sounding right, so instead of making it full-blown, I just decided to make it concise. And so I thought of the best way to do that in, you know, one sentence. Just summing it up in one sentence came to mind, so one-sentence rants happened. And, you know, it ended up being mildly popular, so I rolled with it, and now it's probably the thing that I'm known best for. So, yeah. And he also asks, if forced, would I rather amputate my ear or my hand? Probably my ear. You know, I like having 2 hands. You know, it's just a luxury that I don't think I could get rid of. Okay, so the Yamako X asks, how did I meet Nairman / Johnny / Solaris? Well, to be honest, I met Nairman first. You know, I was just looking around for Mega Man 9 reviews back when it was released, and I found his channel somehow. I don't remember how. I think he had a Mega Man related video, and I saw it in the related videos comments. So, you know, I clicked that, I saw his other stuff, you know, I liked it, so I subscribed. I commented on a lot of his videos, so he sent a friend request. We ended up commenting on each other's videos a lot. I got Skype, we started talking on Skype, and so Nairman and I became friends. And when Brainscratch started, you know, I discovered Johnny and Lewis, and I started watching their videos too, and, well, the rest is history, pretty much. And then he asks what my favorite video game soundtrack is. I love Pokemon Gold's soundtrack a lot. I also love Banjo-Tooie's soundtrack a lot, and the entirety of the Ace Attorney soundtrack a lot. There's a lot of games with a lot of great soundtracks. ZX Reploid Hunter asks if I've ever played Mega Man. I've played and beaten Mega Man 1 and 2. I've played but not beaten Mega Man 3, and I've played but not beaten Mega Man 9 and X. To be honest, I find them okay but highly overrated because, you know, there's not a lot of substance to them. They're just, you know, kind of there. But they're good games, definitely. Joey Linkmaster asks, if I could be any video game character for 1B, who would I be and why? This is a tough one, but I guess if I could only be if I could be a video game character for one day, I'd probably be Samus, because, you know, messing around with that power suit would be tons of fun. He also asks what my favorite song is. If you're talking about video game songs, I could not begin to tell you what my favorite song is. But if you're talking about real-life songs, well, my favorite musician's Bon Jovi, so any one of his songs, probably. And number 3, what is my favorite system? I've said that if I could only pick one system, I'd pick the Wii, though I do love my N64 and GameCube to death, as well as my DS, so, you know, that's a hard question. They're very neck and neck. XD Mills 4897XD asks, are you starting to become more tolerable of the Zelda franchise? Yes, you know, I beat Ocarina of Time. Eventually I'm going to conquer my childhood fear of Majora's Mask. Yeah, I'm becoming more tolerable, but it's still highly overrated, and I still don't particularly care for the franchise. He also asks, what do I want to be when I'm older? Well, when I applied to college, I'm going to college undecided, so I have no clue what I'm going to be when I grow up, so, you know, you'll have to talk to me in 4 years. And he asks, if I watch anime, what is my favorite series? Again, I don't really watch anime. Gunfight09 asks, what do I prefer, music or motion pictures, and what's my favorite song/movie? To be honest, I listen to a lot more music than watch movies, so most people could say that. I would say that I prefer music just because I do. And again, picking a favorite song is like picking a favorite child. I just couldn't do it. Masterman332 asks, what's my least favorite game genre? To be honest, I'm not sure. Probably sports games. You know, because I have not played enough first-person shooters to say that I really dislike the genre. As a matter of fact, the only first-person shooters I've played I've enjoyed. But yeah, I'd probably say sports games. He asked number 2, what is the first game I ever beat? Banjo-Tooie, and it was one of the most satisfying things I've ever done. Number 3, what's my meaning of life? To be honest, I just think life is there to live, and whether you want to live it, you know, playing video games or out doing extraordinary things, you know, if you should just live your life the way you want to live it. That's my meaning of life. And number 4, is the cake really the lie? No, it's not. Huzzah Sonic number 4 asks, do I think that the Yellow Devil from Mega Man 1 is a hard boss? Not when you use the pause trick! Domo Ono asks, what is the worst game I have ever played? Without a doubt, Miss Pac-Man's Maze Madness for the N64. That game sucks. He also asks number 2, what game would I like to see a remake of? To be honest, I would like to see Sonic Adventure 2 redone, but with the bugs fixed and the graphics brought up to modern day standards. You know, I noticed that the game's aging more, and, you know, my nostalgia just can't have that. So I'd like to see that game done with all the problems fixed. Because, you know, the base game is great, you know, just time has not been kind to it. And have I ever considered getting a 360/PS3? I've considered it, yes, more PS3 than 360, because the exclusive stuff there just seems better. But with the cafe coming out, you know, I just feel like it's kind of redundant. So I probably won't get one, unless I get it as a gift, which is unlikely. So, Vidot the DS player asks, what is my favorite Nintendo series? Probably Metroid, because, you know, there has not been a single Metroid game that I have not enjoyed to some extent. What is my least favorite Nintendo series? Again, Zelda, I just don't care for it. What do I think about Sonic Generations 3DS after reading the details and seeing the screenshots? Well, again, I'm excited just to be able to play the game in any form, but the only screenshots we've seen is of classic Sonic stuff, unless if I've missed something, and if I have, please send me pictures of modern Sonic stuff, please. But yeah, all I've seen is classic Sonic stuff, and again, I don't have anything against classic Sonic, it's just that I grew up with modern Sonic, and Sonic fans and Sega seem to forget that, yes, these people have nostalgic urges too, come on. So anyway, yes, Opox91 asks, have I played any of the Mega Man games? Yes, I have. I already said that. What do I think about Star Fox? To be honest, not a lot, really. I mean, I've played Star Fox 64, it's okay. I've played Star Fox Assault, that's okay too. You know, it's sort of just there, I don't care about it. And number 3, do I like pancakes? Pancakes are okay. They're pretty good. Yes. So Vamp17 asks, if I could live in a universe of any game series, what would it be? Well, that would depend. Does my logic suddenly conform to their logic? Like, if I went to the Mario series, would it suddenly jump higher? Because if that's the case, I'd probably want to live in the Phoenix Wright series. But if... Well, actually, I should rephrase. If that's not the case, I'd like to live in the Phoenix Wright series. But if that is the case... probably Sonic, because you know everybody in Sonic has superpowers. You know, that'd be fun. Number 2, what is my least favorite video game character ever? Ooh. If I had to pick just one, Froggy. Yeah, Big the Cat. I don't like Big the Cat. If I'm correct, I remember hearing you're a drama student, so what's my favorite style of drama? Realism, absurdism, non-realist, etc. Now, I'm not necessarily a drama student, I just do drama club stuff, you know, I do plays every once in a while. You know, I don't really understand the drama jargon you're throwing at me, you know, I just do it for fun. But just a general for style of plays, I like things that can be dark but don't take themselves too seriously. I guess you could say that about a lot of things in general. You know, I don't like it when things take themselves too seriously unless if they're actually trying to be very, very serious dark subject matter. Like, for example, I don't like The Dark Knight because, you know, it's a silly concept that's trying to take itself way too seriously. But, you know, actual serious stuff like Schindler's List, I like it when that remains serious. So, I don't think that really answered your question, but I hope that can at least somewhat point you in the right direction. Sonic Dude 203 asks, 1. If I were a Mega Man fan, what is my favorite game? Well, I'm not particularly a fan. I will say that 2 is probably the best. And number 2, do I like French toast? No, actually, I don't really like French toast. Mario Fan 105 asks when the next part of Sapphire is coming out. For those of you not in the know, Sapphire is currently on hiatus until I give a shit enough to finish it. That's pretty much how it goes, you know. I just, you know, something in me just can't bring myself to finish Sapphire, you know, and I don't want to bog myself down and keep you guys hoping for something that's probably not going to be that good when it comes out. So, it might come eventually, but not anytime soon. MDH0422 asks, what are my thoughts on the Project Cafe? Also, how does it feel if you will own a HD console? Again, I have to see what they're going to say at the E3 conference tomorrow, or at least tomorrow when I'm recording this. I don't know when I'm going to be able to get this up. Yeah, I'm going to have to see the specifics before I tell you what I think. M-Guy Colette asks, what is my favorite song/album from the Bare Naked Ladies? Nothing to me will ever beat the Rock Spectacle Live album that they've done. That is just one of the best, that's to me one of the best CDs ever composed. And my favorite song from that album, I like What a Good Boy, I like When I Fall, I like every song on that album, but yeah. Number 2, have I ever imported a game from Japan for my DS before? No, actually, I don't particularly care to deal with the hassle of importing games. Also, PlayAsia is incredibly overpriced and it can die on a fire. And number 3, which seat can I take? Okay, I just gotta bring something up. Rebecca Black, there's only one open seat available. Take that fucking seat. Okay, but yeah. Chan1150 asks what my future plans for this channel. Again, just whatever I feel like doing. Gavi Zuli, he asks, will I be his new best friend? Because his old best friend Derek took my milk box at lunch yesterday and passed it around, and when he got back to me, the lunch lady got mad at people passing it around and yelled at me and didn't believe me when I told her it was mine, so it got sent to the quiet table, so now I don't talk to Derek. Sure, why not? And number 2, if I had to marry one, would I marry Batman or Superman? Probably Batman, because, you know, then I wouldn't have to deal with any of that stupid money stuff. Though marrying Superman would be cool, because I could be like, honey, we don't have milk, and then he could fly over and get some milk and be like, here you go. And then I'd be like, thank you, Clark. And then you'd be like, you're welcome, and this is getting weird, so I'll stop. Number 3, why does salt and vinegar flavored chips feel the need to clarify there's salt and potato chips? Why does my box of peanut butter crunch have to say, warning, might contain peanuts on it? I don't know, because advertising is stupid. Jug98Gen asks, what game am I waiting for 3DS? To be honest, the game that I'm waiting for the most is Paper Mario 3DS. That game is the reason that I got one, to be honest. Dragonfighter4171 asks, what celebrity sex tape do I want to watch? Do you mean the celebrity sex tape that exists, or one that doesn't exist? Because if there's one that doesn't exist, I don't know, the possibilities are endless. Number 2, what do I think of the Brainscratch fanbase? For the most part, they're pretty cool, although the occasional idiot does tend to rise up, but, idiots are largely ignorable, so it's pretty good. Okay, I seriously need help. I am seeing dead people and they want me to dance for them. Should I call Ghostbuster or dance for them? As long as you can keep your clothes on, I'd say dance for them, but once they start moving into that territory, I'd probably call the Ghostbusters. What would I do if I ruled the world? If I ruled the world, I'd try as hard as I can to fix the problems that the world has, poverty, disease, all that crap. I'd try my hardest to fix that, but I know nothing about government, so that might not actually happen, but thankfully, I'm probably not going to rule the world anytime soon, so the world can rest easy for a little while. Do I believe Kratos is an evil villain because he got butthurt for not having much power in destroying the world? I assume you're talking about God of War, which I have never played, so, I can't answer that. And who will win, America or the world? Yeah, I don't know. America, fuck yeah? I don't know. To be honest, I'm pretty sure if the world really hated America enough, they could take out America. Mr. Game Freak, what is my guilty pleasure, like a bad game or movie I enjoy? I get some fun out of playing Shadow the Hedgehog, believe it or not. There's a good game hidden in there somewhere, I swear. The Puzzle Skeptic, he asks, what are my goals for the future in the context of YouTube? I don't know, just whatever happens. He asks, do I remember him? Yes, I do, dude. You're awesome. And did I ever desire or expect to reach 1,000 subs? Not particularly expect, though I did want it, Everybody wants to be famous on YouTube. And he also asks, what is love? I'm not sure, Being a nerd, I've never really had much experience with that, but, yeah, my philosophical ramblings won't be able to answer this question properly. But if you're making a reference, well, baby, don't hurt me no more. And last question, Penguin72 asks, how did I become a part of Brainscratch commentaries? It was a fluke. Ask Ryan. He also asks, why is it called Brainscratch commentaries? I assume from what I've heard, it's named off of a Cowboy Bebop episode, though I'm not sure. Who is my least favorite Sonic characters? My favorite Sonic character is Shadow, just because he has a fucking character arc. And my least favorite Sonic character is definitely Big the Cat. And what is my favorite and least favorite Pokemon? Typhlosion and Bidoof. So yeah, those are all the questions. I can't believe I fucking made it through all of them. But yeah, I'm done. I'm probably not going to do another one of these for a while, but if you have any questions, feel free to PM me. So yeah, I'm glad to have answered your questions. I hope you guys enjoyed this Q&A special. I can't believe I've been going on for almost 45 minutes. Yeah, this has been ExandShadow. I'll see you guys later.